First about what the topic is. The promise of a free universal education means little for literally hundreds of millions of kids around the world who are too often left behind, and they're the kids we're here to talk about today. We're talking about girls who live in remote areas far away from schools, child laborers, those with disabilities, victims of sex trafficking, and kids who are orphaned or affected by HIV/AIDS.
When you have reduced numbers of teachers and you have very large class sizes and you're trying to maintain some substance and quality of education, it's a very tough slog. But on top of that, of course, when you're dealing with HIV and AIDS kids, you're dealing with children who have lost their parents very often. There are now 14, 15 million orphan children, orphaned by AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa. The numbers are rising exponentially, and they're desperately in need of nurture and support, and that's very difficult to find. We all use the facile phrase psychosocial support, but there are no psychologists, there are no social workers. You're dependent on the sensitivities of the community and of the teachers, and it isn't always there. And for these kids, it's incredibly hard, and it's often hard even to get to schools because so many schools are not accessible because of the fees. Many countries haven't abolished school fees at primary level.
I mean, in the United States, I didn't get to go to school until I was 9 years old. I didn't need any accommodations except a ramp into the school. And there are millions of children around the world who had polio, have other types of disabilities where we just need a little bit of access into the school. There was a longitudinal study that was done in the United States in the 1990s, which showed that disabled teenage girls by the age of 18 were twice as likely to be single mothers as non-disabled kids.
I would like to have people think about children who are the have-nots in our society. And where do we have the largest number of have-nots? You know, 35 million children don't go to school, don't ever see a school. Besides health, disease, and, you know, problems which are, you know, so common amongst the children, these are some of the problems that the world must look at.
I think I know the answer to this, but what stands in the way of the expansion and replication of your schools? What stands in the way of expanding your program? Just money?
Money.
And it can all be overcome with some real sense of resources. They're there. Gordon Brown, Prime Minister of the UK, came to the United Nations on July 31st, and correct me, David, if I'm wrong, but I think he said $9 billion a year would do it to put every kid in school, disabilities, disadvantage, right across the board.